3 a.m., and a magnitude 2.6 quake hit the same area later at 8 a.m. That initial quake, though, shook shelves all around the bay and sent some products crashing to the floor at shops along 4th Street in Berkeley. This Sephora and Keel stores took a bit of a hit, with merchandise scattered across the aisles. Meteorologist Jessica Birch has more on this morning's quake and the chance of further aftershocks.
Did you feel it? Many of us woke up to a magnitude 4.3 earthquake, the epicenter just near Berkeley, and we've seen some aftershocks since. Now, the USGS reports that there's about a 26% chance that we could see anything from a 3.0 or higher when it comes to those aftershocks. So rest assured, we could see some rumbling today, but it's not likely to be anything stronger, of course, than what we initially felt at 2:56 this morning. A couple things to talk about this, though. I mean, people from Santa Rosa all the way down into Santa Cruz and off into Sacramento felt it as we woke up this morning. And just to give you some context, a 4.0 alone, about 10,000 happen a year globally. So we're continuing to keep a close eye on that earthquake today along the Hayward Fault line, and especially the aftershocks too. But let's change gears real fast and talk about some other big things happening for us this week. And this has to do with the atmosphere, not the Earth's surface. Now, today, we're keeping a close eye on the heat risk map. We see some 90s in the East Bay. I'll show you in just a second. That's nothing to write home about. We talk about our forecast tomorrow as high pressure builds in. Extreme heat is expected tomorrow for our Tuesday forecast before a big cool down into Wednesday. So I just showed you the next 3 days. Let's pull up the map and start off with today, though. I want to show you places like the Santa Clara Valley gearing up for 80s. Nothing too crazy. And some 90s over into the East Bay, possible closer to Antioch. And we head all the way up into the North Bay. We're actually gearing up for 80s today, too. 70s into San Francisco. But let's head over into the next 7 days. I'm going to pull up our inland forecast first. For the next 7 days alone, we see 90s today possible. We see triple digits by tomorrow as high pressure rolls in. Daytime highs well above average all throughout the Bay Area at that point. And then this area of low pressure comes in from the south and it cools us off fast. I mean, look at these numbers, a 20-degree jump in the negative direction just by Wednesday. And then we slowly start to average out as we head into this weekend. We'll keep you updated on that forecast here in the Weather Center. Back to you.
Well, lots of students at UC Berkeley felt that earthquake before classes this morning. We send our Veronica Macias to the epicenter.
Here in Berkeley, UC Berkeley police sending out that critical alert, letting students know to drop, lock, and cover after that earthquake. A lot of people describing it as a jolt. It was sudden, but it was strong enough to wake people and get them out of bed, not lasting very long. You know, here at UC Berkeley, they have the seismology lab, and seismologists that we've talked to this morning, the main message they want to get out to people is to make sure that you are prepared, that you lock and drop and cover, and you're careful with any items that could be hazardous. I'm told that you have to download the MyShake app. I've looked at it. There's the safety tips here, of course, locking those hazardous items in place, having that safety plan with your family, discussing what to do in case there is a major earthquake that causes a lot of destruction. Have a meeting place. Some of the simplest things you can do is have gas in your car, not let it be on empty in case there is an emergency. A lot of the people that we talk to here on campus, some of them workers early this morning, they remember Loma Prieta, they lived through that. A lot of people also saying this is their first earthquake. We heard from a freshman saying, you know, after the earthquake, they just simply couldn't go back to bed. Take a listen.
The earthquake was side to side around, I really don't know what time it was because I was asleep, but around maybe 2:30, 3.
My bed's shaking, so my first thought was, wait, see how long it lasts. And then I thought, well, what if it keeps going? So I thought, where do I need to go for safety in case?
Here in Berkeley, there have been aftershocks in the area at 2.6 not long ago this morning. So, of course, we're going to monitor the situation. Not long ago, we spoke with a first responder over in Menlo Park who's with a emergency task force for under FEMA. They tell us, you know, Californians really do need to be prepared. If we were to have an earthquake of a magnitude 8.0, they're not so sure how prepared we would be. So thankfully this morning, not seeing destruction, but definitely a reminder of how we should be ready for the next big one.
Yeah, it is a reminder. A lot of people taking to social media feeling the shaking. Bonnie Portnoy posting on X saying that they felt it in San Rafael and that an alert immediately followed. Tara says it woke her up in Benicia. She felt the shaking and could hear pictures on the wall creaking. And another user said he's brand new to the Bay Area and, quote, that was a scary moment for me. I can't go back to sleep. We're going to bring you reports of any further aftershocks on air on our website, kpix.com, and streaming on the free CBS News app. Well, President Trump says his administration is going to make a major announcement about autism. There are reports that federal health officials plan to tie the use of the active ingredient in Tylenol, acetaminophen, during pregnancy to autism. But medical professionals are pushing back and worried about the impacts on expectant mothers. Natalie Brand has more details from the White House.
I think we found an answer to autism.
President Trump has teased what he's calling a major announcement on autism in the U.S.
It's out of control. Autism, out of control.
Earlier this month, the Wall Street Journal reported the administration is expected to suggest acetaminophen, the active ingredient in Tylenol taken during pregnancy, and low levels of folate among the potential causes of autism.
The best evidence does not show an association between Tylenol and autism.
CBS News medical contributor Dr. Celine Gounder.
The best recent study looked at 2.5 million kids from Sweden. They used sibling comparisons to factor out genetic factors and other factors, and they found no increase in risk in autism, ADHD, or other intellectual disabilities for pregnant women who used Tylenol during pregnancy.
Ahead of the White House announcement, the company that owns Tylenol is pushing back and says it's worried about consumer confusion and the impact on expecting mothers.
In a statement saying, "We believe independent sound science clearly shows that taking acetaminophen does not cause autism." Experts say failing to treat medical conditions that warrant the use of acetaminophen, like a high fever while pregnant, could be far more dangerous.
If you have a high fever during pregnancy, that can cause neurodevelopment issues in the baby. So you don't want to let that fever go untreated.
The Washington Post also reports the Trump administration plans to promote a drug derived from folate called leucovorin as a potential autism treatment. Doctors say there may be evidence it can help a subset of autism patients who have a folate-related defect with speech and communication.
Well, Tylenol has long been considered a safe drug for pain relief and fever reduction in pregnant women, since Advil or generic ibuprofen is not recommended. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area. California becoming the first state in the country to unmask law enforcement. But can the state really enforce the ban? Plus, tens of thousands of people paying respect to conservative activist Charlie Kirk. We're going to show you the moment his widow forgave his assassin.
We're continuing to keep a close eye on that earthquake that shook earlier this morning near Berkeley at 2:56, magnitude 4.3. We've seen some aftershocks, and we're going to continue to monitor that as we head into the afternoon hours today. But let's get to the other big story, and that has to do with the heat that we're expecting tomorrow. Today, we're in the 90s all the way over into our inland areas. We expect triple digits tomorrow before a big cool down into our Wednesday forecast. A 20-degree jump from Tuesday into Wednesday. Let's get prepared for that today. We head over into the Bay Area. We're seeing a similar trend. 90s right around the corner by tomorrow.
It is official. It will be illegal for law enforcement here in California to wear masks. This weekend, Governor Newsom signed the No Secret Police Act into law.
Unmarked cars, people in masks, people quite literally disappearing, no due process, no rights in a democracy where we have rights. Immigrants have rights, and we have the right to stand up and push back.
Now, there are some exceptions like riot gear, medical masks, and undercover work. The law was authored by Bay Area State Senators Scott Wiener and Jesse Arreguin. And while it won't officially go into effect until next year, as our Amanda Harry reports, it's already facing some major questions about just how effective it can really be.
Jump on the barrel.
Law enforcement officers with sunglasses, gator masks, and helmets, essentially indistinguishable from one another. It's becoming more and more common. State Senator Scott Wiener says it needs to change.
We have this nightmarish situation where Donald Trump has turned ICE into basically secret police.
He says some officers are trying to remain anonymous.
They are not identifying themselves. They are wearing these extreme face masks, almost like ski masks, and they are just grabbing people, throwing them into unmarked vehicles and disappearing them.
Yeah, don't let any of the officer boys leave.
Wiener feels for the people who have been and continue to be impacted. That's why he authored the No Secret Police Act. It will ban federal, local, and state law enforcement agents, including immigration and customs enforcement ones, from wearing face coverings while on duty. That includes ski masks and neck gaiters.
Get on the sidewalk! Get on the sidewalk!
Sometimes they'll say, oh, we wear the masks because we're worried about doxing or we're scared for our safety. Of course, we never want anyone to be doxed, but if you are that scared that you feel the need to cover your face while you're patrolling a community, you shouldn't be a law enforcement officer. It's time to find a different profession.
The law will go into effect on January 1st, and violators may be charged with an infraction or misdemeanor. There are some exceptions for undercover agents or usage for protective purposes during wildfires or health emergencies. Retired Assistant Special Agent in charge at the San Francisco FBI field office, Jeffrey Harp, questions whether officers will follow it.
Will the California law outweigh the federal interest in protecting their agents? And unfortunately, and I'm not an attorney, but I can tell you I have had experience with the Supremacy Clause when it comes to the work I did in the FBI. And the government will likely exercise that or just simply ignore the state regulation.
Acting U.S. Attorney Bill Assaley posted on X that agents will not be following the new law. Quote, the state of California has no jurisdiction over the federal government. If Newsom wants to regulate our agents, he must go through Congress. I've directed our federal agencies that the law signed today has no effect on our operations. Our agents will continue to protect their identities. The Department of Homeland Security called for Newsom to veto the act. Tricia McLaughlin said, while our federal law enforcement officers are being assaulted by rioters and having rocks and Molotov cocktails thrown at them, a sanctuary politician is trying to outlaw officers wearing masks to protect themselves from being doxxed and targeted by known and suspected terrorist sympathizers. The law requires officers to be identifiable, name tags, badge numbers, or other easily seen identification on uniforms. Wiener says he wrote this law not just because he thinks it's the right thing, but because it's what his constituents want.
It's extremely popular because people understand that it's not normal for law enforcement to wear ski masks while they're interacting with the public. That's not normal, and it needs to stop.
The No Secret Police Act has inspired similar bills across the country in Tennessee, Michigan, Illinois, New York, Massachusetts, and Pennsylvania. Manny Yucatil, owner of Manny's Cafe in San Francisco, has announced that he is running for public office.
And now I've decided to run for supervisor in District 8 because it's a critical time in the city's resurrection story, and I know we can finish the job. Priority 1.
In this video posted this morning, he is announcing that he is running for District 8 supervisor. That's the area near the Castro neighborhood. He's going to be on the ballot in November 2026. Supervisor Raphael Mandelman currently holds that seat, but he is set to term out in 2027. A man accused of firing gunshots at an ABC television station in Sacramento is due in federal court this afternoon. Police say 3 bullets hit the lobby window of this TV station Friday in a drive-by shooting. Some people were inside, but nobody was hurt. Police arrested 64-year-old Annabelle Hernandez Santana Friday night. He posted bail Saturday, only to be arrested again hours later by the FBI. Still no word on the motive for the shooting. A highly emotional memorial service over the weekend for influential conservative activist and organizer Charlie Kirk. Tens of thousands of people jammed into Arizona's NFL stadium for yesterday's event. Thousands more couldn't even fit inside. President Trump and members of his administration offered tributes to Kirk as a friend and political ally. In one of the ceremony's most powerful moments, Kirk's widow said she forgives his assassin. Chris Van Cleve reports from Phoenix.
In an emotional tribute Sunday, Erica Kirk spoke of the devout Christian values she shared with her late husband Charlie and offered these words to his assassin.
On the cross, our Savior said, "Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do." That man, that young man, I forgive him.
Now, the CEO of Turning Point USA, the conservative organization her husband founded, Kirk pledged to grow the movement and encouraged young people to step into their faith.
The answer to hate is not hate. The answer we know from the gospel is love, and always love.
Moments later, President Trump, the event's headlining speaker, struck a different tone.
That's where I disagreed with Charlie. I hate my opponent.
The president spoke on a wide range of topics for more than 40 minutes and called Kirk's death an attack on the entire nation.
The gun was pointed at him, but the bullet was aimed at all of us.
Several members of the president's inner circle and cabinet spoke Sunday as an overflowing crowd packed State Farm Stadium, the largest venue in Arizona, to celebrate Kirk's life.
Now, our whole administration is here, but not just because we love Charlie as a friend, even though we did, but because we know we wouldn't be here without him.
The 31-year-old Kirk's rise to prominence was fueled in part by his debates with students on college campuses across the country. He became a mainstay on the campaign trail and galvanized young people to vote for President Trump.
You know, I watch Charlie Kirk's videos pretty much every day.
Brittany Hegberg traveled to the memorial from Minnesota.
I thought that he really stood up for what he believed in, and I really admired that a lot, and I think the world needs more of that.
Kirk's positions were not without controversy, but his death sparked widespread outrage and heartbreak, and his allies said Sunday it had immortalized him.
You have no idea the dragon you have awakened. You have no idea how determined we will be to save this civilization, to save the West, to save this republic.
The memorial was also a call to action. Turning Point was actively registering new voters as they came into the stadium. President Trump told attendees he plans to award Kirk the nation's highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
On his way back to Washington last night, President Trump praised the efforts of the Department of Justice in the case against Tyler Robinson. That is the 22-year-old man charged with killing Charlie Kirk. Utah prosecutors say they plan to pursue the death penalty in his case. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, the Niners nail a last-second field goal to remain unbeaten this season. We're going to hear from the team's brand new kicker who broke the curse.
We have high pressure building in. It's warming us up and it's drying us up from today to our forecast tomorrow. We're going to see a lot of heat, that heat risk map going into that high and very high category off in the East Bay tomorrow before we cool down fast into our Wednesday setup. Let's actually start off with the map coming up. And I just want to show you daytime highs today compared to where we're going to be at tomorrow. We're talking about 90s off into the East Bay, 70s over into San Francisco, 80s in places like Petaluma, stretched down into the Santa Clara Valley. Let me pull up the next 7 days just to show you this perspective, though. 90s are in the forecast today. We expect triple digits tomorrow as high pressure rolls in before a big shift in the forecast happens by Wednesday. A 20-degree jump. I want to talk more about that coming up in just a bit. This is something we need to prepare for now. Back to you.
All right, some good news. The 49ers remain unbeaten this season at 3-0 after their home opener at Levi Stadium. The Niners taking it down to the wire yesterday. Mac Jones still in for Brock Purdy, and it all came down to a last-second field goal with their new kicker to escape with a 1-point win. Final score 16-15. Matt Lively has the recap from Levi Stadium.
This is the Audi Red and Gold Report.
A box score doesn't show just how ugly a football game can be, which is good for the 49ers, who improved to 3-0, but nearly gave a divisional contest away.
It's been gritty, it's been grimy, but we found ways to win, and we know we're not a finished product, but we're going to continue to grow, and right now we're doing that as 3-0 and 2-0 in our division.
Actually, I don't know if we would have won all these 3 games. You know, we get down and get adversity, it's more just like a, effort. Like, let's just go play ball and see what happens.
The faithful likely felt PTSD as Eddie Pinheiro came out with 4 seconds left, but he exorcised the ghost of Jake Moody and nailed the game-winning kick.
I was sitting on a couch 3 weeks ago, watching the first game of the season, and now I'm here.
Well, we've enjoyed him here in these 2 weeks, and liked how he's handled himself, and you definitely like guys even more when they make kicks.
To hear his story and then see him get that game winner was awesome. To just be around guys holding him up at the end. His energy was impeccable, so happy for that guy.
It's a bad movie. I know that was coming. I'd rather just stay on the ground.
The offense wasn't perfect or even very good on Sunday, but backup QB Mac Jones still managed to lead his team down the field in the 4th.
Dog, Mac 10. Yes, sir. He a dog.
I've failed a lot in that situation, to be honest, in the NFL, and I just know the guys have my back.
For the Red and Gold Report, I'm Matt Lively.
And tune in Wednesday for our weekly 49ers Experience show with Matt and Vern Glenn. That starts at 7:30 on KPIX and streaming on the free CBS News app. Well, to baseball now, the Oakland Ballers celebrating their first championship in the Pioneer League. Yeah, thousands of fans watched the Ballers beat Idaho Falls last night at Raimondi Park in Oakland. Final score 8-1. With that, the Ballers brought championship baseball back to Oakland for the first time in more than 35 years. One father and son who attended the game say they feel truly connected to the team.
It's a lot cooler than MLB because they actually come over every single time and sign your stuff, and it's super cool.
This is a memory that he'll probably never forget. So to be able to share, the first time these guys out here for a championship, it's pretty cool.
Many fans started supporting the Ballers once the A's left Oakland. This is the Ballers' second season in the league. Coming up in our next half hour here on CBS News Bay Area, new rules on H-1B visas throwing some Bay Area tech companies into a bit of a tailspin. The Trump administration's new $100,000 fee is impacting Silicon Valley.
It's hard enough as it is. As a small company with less than 10 people trying to make your mark on the world, it gets even harder when you have more and more handicaps.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for being with us this Monday. I'm Ann Makovic, and here's a look at some of our news headlines. Much of the Bay Area woke up to that magnitude 4.3 earthquake early this morning. The epicenter was near UC Berkeley by College Avenue, right along the Hayward Fault. It hit just before 3 a.m. A magnitude 2.6 aftershock hit the same area at 8 a.m. President Trump says his administration is going to make a major announcement about autism. There are reports that federal health officials plan to tie the use of the active ingredient in Tylenol, acetaminophen, during pregnancy to autism. The company that owns Tylenol is pushing back, saying it's concerned about consumer confusion and the impact on expecting mothers. Tylenol has long been considered a safe drug for pain relief and fever reduction in pregnant women. And Manny Yucatil, owner of Manny's Cafe in San Francisco, announcing he is running for public office. In this video posted this morning, he is announcing he's running for District 8 Supervisor. That is the area around the Castro neighborhood. He's going to be on the ballot November 2026. Supervisor Raphael Mandelman right now holds that seat. He's set to term out in 2027. All right, let's get another check on our first alert forecast this Monday and a little more on that earthquake with meteorologist Jessica Birch.
Did you feel it? Many of us woke up to a magnitude 4.3 earthquake, the epicenter just near Berkeley, and we've seen some aftershocks since. Now, the USGS reports that there's about a 26% chance that we could see anything from a 3.0 or higher when it comes to those aftershocks. So rest assured, we could see some rumbling today, but it's not likely to be anything stronger, of course, than what we initially felt at 2:56 this morning. A couple things to talk about this, though. I mean, people from Santa Rosa all the way down into Santa Cruz and off into Sacramento felt it as we woke up this morning. And just to give you some context, a 4.0 alone, about 10,000 happen a year globally. So we're continuing to keep a close eye on that earthquake today along the Hayward Fault line, and especially the aftershocks too. But let's change gears real fast and talk about some other big things happening for us this week. And this has to do with the atmosphere, not the Earth's surface. Now, today, we're keeping a close eye on the heat risk map. We see some 90s in the East Bay. I'll show you in just a second. That's nothing to write home about. We talk about our forecast tomorrow as high pressure builds in. Extreme heat is expected tomorrow for our Tuesday forecast before a big cool down into Wednesday. So I just showed you the next 3 days. Let's pull up the map and start off with today, though. I want to show you places like the Santa Clara Valley gearing up for 80s. Nothing too crazy. And some 90s over into the East Bay, possible closer to Antioch. And we head all the way up into the North Bay. We're actually gearing up for 80s today, too. 70s into San Francisco. But let's head over into the next 7 days. I'm going to pull up our inland forecast first. For the next 7 days alone, we see 90s today possible. We see triple digits by tomorrow as high pressure rolls in. Daytime highs well above average all throughout the Bay Area at that point. And then this area of low pressure comes in from the south and it cools us off fast. I mean, look at these numbers, a 20-degree jump in the negative direction just by Wednesday. And then we slowly start to average out as we head into this weekend. We'll keep you updated on that forecast here in the Weather Center. Back to you.
Well, there is a new reality for Bay Area tech companies that recruit the best and brightest from around the world. The Trump administration is adding a $100,000 fee for H-1B visas. California has been the biggest beneficiary of H-1B visas, with more than 61,000 of them issued since the start of the program. Bay Area tech companies are among the biggest users of the visa program. Google, Meta, and Apple each employ more than 4,000 people on H-1B visas, and while $100,000 might not be much for them, as Dahlin found out, it's a pretty big price tag for smaller companies and startups.
Some of the brightest minds in the world work here in the Bay Area. Many of them, scientists and engineers, came to San Francisco and Silicon Valley on H-1B visas. A couple of tech leaders say making those visas more expensive doesn't help America, it hurts it.
I applied for my H-1B, I got it in 2015.
San Francisco venture capitalist Didi Das is a former H-1B visa holder from India and now a partner at Menlo Ventures. The firm invests in startups and AI companies that are constantly pushing the limits of innovation.
One of the advantages America has is to be able to attract global talent. If you stifle even that, it just makes it that much harder to compete on a global level.
Didi believes the new $100,000 fee on H-1B visas will hurt hospitals that depend on foreign nurses, universities that work with international researchers, and tech startups that employ foreign software engineers.
Say a 5-person, 10-person company, you often have like $2 to $4 million in your bank account, and now you're looking at hiring maybe 2 or 3 foreign-born workers, and all of a sudden your runway can shorten by 3 months.
The U.S. government caps H-1B visas at 85,000 per year. Silicon Valley is a major user of the program. Companies like Meta, Google, and Apple employ thousands of H-1B workers who came to the Bay Area to build their careers.
It diminishes our innovative capacity in the United States. It tells other brilliant people around the world that we are not open for innovation.
This South Bay tech founder, who asked to remain anonymous, says his company just sponsored an H-1B employee who arrived in the U.S. on Saturday. He says, unlike Amazon or Salesforce, smaller companies like his simply can't afford the new fee, which only applies to new applicants.
I can say that as long as this is in place, we're not going to be able to afford to do anymore. It's a catastrophe. This additional fee is a non-starter for startups, small and medium-sized businesses.
While Trump supporters argue the new policy will give American workers a competitive edge, tech leaders like Dee warn it could set America back in the global AI race.
It's hard enough as it is. As a small company with less than 10 people trying to make your mark on the world, it gets even harder when you have more and more handicaps.
There are currently thousands of H-1B visa holders working and living in the Bay Area. Immigration attorneys tell me the new fee structure does not affect those current visa holders or their families.
Well, President Trump announced Friday that the government will also begin offering gold card visas. They include a path to U.S. citizenship for $1 million for individuals and $2 million for companies. He said a Trump Platinum card will also be available for $5 million, but he has not said what you'd get for that extra $4 million. The Trump administration says it has a plan to keep TikTok online here in the U.S. A senior White House official says that Oracle would control the algorithm after the sale is complete. That detail had been one of the primary outstanding questions as the White House pushes to finalize that TikTok deal with China. If completed, it would transfer control of TikTok's operations to a new joint venture based in the U.S. The investors would include Oracle and the private equity firm Silver Lake. Oracle's founder, Larry Ellison, is the father of David Ellison, head of Paramount and CBS's parent company. TikTok has more than 170 users here in the U.S. If you saw a lot of smoke in Oakland this morning, here's why. Our chopper saw this trash fire breaking out just after 7 a.m. This is at Pearman and Prune Streets, which is known as a hotbed for illegal dumping. Fire crews quickly extinguished the flames, and they've not confirmed how exactly that fire might have started. It has taken years, but the SMART train line in the North Bay is on track with its expansion. It is expanding north, and so is a new multi-use pathway alongside the tracks. But now, as John Ramos reports, the path's legality is being questioned, and the transit agency is moving quickly to protect its interests.
When they were looking to sell the idea of the SMART train line to voters, officials promised a bicycle and pedestrian pathway alongside the rails. They're still working to fulfill that promise, but now it looks like SMART may not actually own the land they built it on.
I enjoy this path coming from Petaluma. I don't have to take side roads or anything like that. It's more safe.
David Ellis uses the bike and pedestrian pathway as a way to exercise, but along the trail, some landowners are also exercising their property rights. They've filed a lawsuit contending that SMART doesn't own the land. It only has an easement for its tracks, and that doesn't include a right to build a recreational bike and pedestrian pathway.
Here, SMART obviously had the position that we hold these rights, we can do this. That was proven out to be incorrect. But that's why they proceeded with this pathway, is they thought they had these rights, or they didn't care. I don't know.
Reed Ripley is a Missouri-based attorney specializing in railway property rights. He says SMART had no authority to build the paths, and that last October, a judge's ruling confirmed it. So at its meeting on Wednesday, SMART's general manager recommended the board invoke eminent domain to forcibly buy the land, even though he insisted they already own it.
This is absolutely the last resort, but it is necessary to clear title, protect this important public asset, and avoid significant litigation costs from an out-of-state attorney who is trying to take advantage of SMART and the taxpayers of Sonoma and Marin County.
That clearly is an admission that there are rights taken. You don't bring an eminent domain suit unless you are saying we are taking rights. So that in conjunction with the ruling from this past October, all those issues are settled as far as is compensation owed here. The only question remaining is how much compensation.
How much Smart should pay is the big sticking point, and they have an interesting argument. They claim that they shouldn't have to pay much for the land because the presence of their own railway line makes the land nominal in value.
The property was deemed unusable for any other purpose due to it being located in an active rail corridor. As a result, Smart offered adjacent property owners $1,000 for an easement.
And that's just not even close to what is owed here. I mean, just looking at the land values of Sonoma and Marin counties, obviously that's ridiculous.
Ripley isn't putting a number on his lawsuit, but says it could conceivably run into the tens of millions of dollars, money Smart doesn't have. Out on the trail, riders said they hoped it didn't affect the progress of the pathway.
I say it should be public domain, and it helps the whole community. Everybody uses it, rather than a couple individuals trying to make money off of it.
And I understand there's some gray area there, but they've constructed much of the pathway, and we're excited to see the rest of it constructed.
Hopefully I don't have to pay to use the path. I will anyway, more than likely, but you know, toll crossings.
No, well, you might have to as a taxpayer.
Yeah, that's it.
You know,
absolutely.
Last week, the board voted unanimously to approve eminent domain on 8.6 miles of recently completed pathway involving 47 separate properties. In all, Smart has already completed 39 miles of pathway and is funding for another 10 miles between Novato and Healdsburg. Coming up next here on CBS News Bay Area, entertainment zones in San Francisco bringing thousands of people downtown to help boost business. But we're going to hear from a wine bar owner just outside the zone who says the results are a mixed bag.
When we are included in the perimeter of the event, we are finding it beneficial. It just doesn't happen that often.
We're continuing to keep a close eye on that earthquake that shook earlier this morning near Berkeley at 2:56, magnitude 4.3. We've seen some aftershocks, and we're going to continue to monitor that as we head into the afternoon hours today. But let's get to the other big story, and that has to do with the heat that we're expecting tomorrow. Today, we're in the 90s all the way over into our inland areas. We expect triple digits tomorrow before a big cool down into our Wednesday forecast. A 20-degree jump from Tuesday into Wednesday. Let's get prepared for that today. We head over into the Bay Area. We're seeing a similar trend. 90s right around the corner by tomorrow.
It has been about a year since San Francisco kicked off a new strategy to revitalize downtown with entertainment zones. The event started under former Mayor London Breed, and her successor, Mayor Daniel Lurie, has doubled down on the effort. They've shown to be beneficial for the businesses directly involved with the events. But what about those in the surrounding area? Max Darrow takes a deeper look.
Inside Embark Wines on Front Street.
See, the lights will light up.
Adam Levengood gets a splash of a New World White.
And there it is. It's a 1 ounce pour.
1 ounce for 1 year of business downtown.
So we first started looking at the space about 18 months ago. And at that time, we weren't quite sure what was going to happen around here in terms of foot traffic.
Adam and co-founder Richard knew the next block over of Front Street was supposedly going to be ground zero for a new strategy to get people downtown. The city's first ever so-called entertainment zone with a lineup of big neighborhood events. That certainly couldn't hurt, but would it help them a block away? A year into both his business and the Front Street Entertainment Zone's existence, Adam says it is a case-by-case basis.
When we are included in the perimeter of the event, we are finding it beneficial. It just doesn't happen that often.
Bhangra and Beats is an example of a big win because it included his block of Front Streets between Clay and Sacramento.
That was fantastic. That was actually, I believe, our best day.
But the events that just keep to the block of front between California and Sacramento.
I've gotten a little annoyed on occasion that, it seemed like there were so many people over here and no one in here, or maybe 1 or 2 people.
The entertainment zone has proven to bring people to the area. According to the Downtown San Francisco Partnership, 36,500 people across 15 events in its first year.
We're really repositioning how people use and think about downtown San Francisco.
Melissa Buckminster says Oktoberfest is one of the premier events that drives spending. She points to Schroeder's as an example.
Schroeder's always makes the most on Oktoberfest that they make throughout the year. And last year specifically was twice the amount that they had made on Oktoberfest the year before.
Doubling down on entertainment zones, activations, and nightlife are a major part of the city's bet on revitalizing downtown. Mayor Daniel Lurie says this part of the strategy is paying off.
The first Thursdays, especially those downtown, we see companies coming back 5 days a week. Some are coming back 4 days a week, and they have told me that one of the reasons why is they actually now have events to point their workers to.
A steady drumbeat of events, activations, making sure that places are clean and safe. All of these sort of different layers on top of each other absolutely do make a difference in downtown SF.
Overall, a net positive for Adam and the team at Embark, despite being on the periphery at times.
I think we have seen some good overflow.
He's hopeful to see more overflow in the future.
We've made it past the first year, which of course is a big milestone for any small business, and we hope to be here for many years to come.
Serving and teaching all things wine.
Mayor Lurie also recently announced his $40 million Heart of the City plan to accelerate downtown revitalization. Part of the plan includes the creation of 4 more entertainment zones on Ellis Street, Maiden Lane, Jackson Square, and Claude Lane. Coming up here on CBS News Bay Area. As we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, we are highlighting a Bay Area dance class that's become a hub to transform lives and build community one step at a time.
We have high pressure building in. It's warming us up and it's drying us up from today to our forecast tomorrow. We're going to see a lot of heat, that heat risk map going into that high and very high category off in the East Bay tomorrow before we cool down fast into our Wednesday setup. Let's actually start off with the map coming up. And I just want to show you daytime highs today compared to where we're going to be at tomorrow. We're talking about 90s off into the East Bay, 70s over into San Francisco, 80s in places like Petaluma, stretched down into the Santa Clara Valley. Let me pull up the next 7 days just to show you this perspective, though. 90s are in the forecast today. We expect triple digits tomorrow as high pressure rolls in before a big shift in the forecast happens by Wednesday. A 20-degree jump. I want to talk more about that coming up in just a bit. This is something we need to prepare for now. Back to you.
The lowriders cruised through San Francisco's Mission District for the King of the Streets parade Saturday, and KPIX partnered with organizers to make it the first ever lowrider parade to be televised from start to finish. It was a rolling party with cars from every decade sparkling down Mission Street. Spectators filled the sidewalks to watch as the lowriders put on a show, and for a lot of people, it was personal.
This isn't a hobby, it's a lifestyle, it's a culture, and it's what I grew up seeing. My father showed me how to drive one of these. But that's, one of the reasons. So I just remember.
The San Francisco Lowrider Council was created to resist the racial profiling of young Latino men by the police department, which had banned cruising on Mission Street. But now, lowriding is celebrated while still honoring the past. Mayor Daniel Lurie also joined in the celebration. He appeared on our broadcast and talked about the importance of celebrating Latino culture and of keeping everyone safe in the current political climate.
Our job is to keep our neighbors safe, our residents safe, our immigrants safe. That's what we're doing. Crime in San Francisco, in downtown, down 40%. Citywide crime, down 30% this year. This is a safe city. I'm so happy to see people out enjoying and feeling safe to do so, and we're going to protect that right to have fun and enjoy San Francisco.
Now, if you want to see the full King of the Streets Lowrider Parade, just head to our website, kpix.com, or check it out on our YouTube channel. We are celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, and today we are bringing you the story of a Bay Area dance class that became a cultural hub for their community. This class in Oakland brings authentic, inclusive, and innovative Cuban dance moves to the Bay Area. As our Veronica Macias shows us, the group offers a dynamic look into the power of dance.
Sydney Weaverling has been teaching salsa for years in the Bay Area, and her smile says it all. The rhythm still brings her joy. Her passion, her energy is contagious. She leads her students in a Cuban-style salsa at Rueda con Ritmo.
I think people really like coming to class because they love the community. They make friends there, they can relax. Some people meet their spouses there. There are a number of Rueda con Ritmo couples. And I just think they feel at home, and it's a place where they can forget their cares and their worries, maybe the difficulties with health or work. They can come and dance and have a great time.
For Cubans like John Marco Miranda Bueno, classes like this offer something more. A deeper connection to culture and home.
It's been super important to find other Cubans here because it was one of my main worries coming over to the Bay Area. As opposed to like the East Coast, well, especially Miami, there's lots of Cubans over there.
John Marco came to the U.S. back in 2021 and moved to San Francisco earlier this summer. And the moment he stepped foot into Sydney's program, he was overwhelmed in the best way by the feelings of comfort and nostalgia.
And I didn't really know that there was a Cuban community in San Francisco. And so meeting other Cubans has made me a lot more at ease and has helped me transition into living here and feeling more comfortable and more at home and thinking of this place as a potential home for a while.
For John Marco, the dancing here is no different than what you would see at a social gathering in Havana. where salsa is more than music and movement, it's a part of everyday life. Weaverleen, who is a choreographer, studied dance in Cuba, and Rueda con Ritmo has been offering trips to the island. It's a way for students to immerse themselves in the culture and this earthier style of salsa.
And we're really interested in the aspect of supporting the Cuban people, where we go under the license of supporting the Cuban people, and that's our intention. We really love Cuban people and Cuban culture, so we take foreign students, American students, and others to Cuba to study dance and to go to concerts and experience the culture and meet Cuban people, and I think it's a really meaningful exchange.
Thanks to Weaverleen's vision, Rueda con Ritmo has become more than a dance class. It's a place of connection, culture, and community, and for many students, those friendships extend beyond the dance floor.
And as CBS News Bay Area celebrates Hispanic Heritage Month, you can catch our 1-hour special Una Familia airing Thursday, October 16th at 7:30 p.m. It's going to be hosted by your very own Gianna Franco and Len Ramirez. Catch it on KPIX and streaming on the free CBS News app. Well, thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your first alert forecast and another look at your top stories.